Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, wherever you happen to be. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Mark Mandel. I am a developer advocate for Google Cloud. I am particularly branded today, actually. Look at that. Look at that t-shirt. Um, cool. So, working on some fun stuff today. Trying to take allocation requests and batch them together. If you may have joined me last week, it was last week. Yeah, it was. I had an idea for how we could make throughput happen a bit better on game server allocations. So when we have a fleet of game servers or groups of game servers actually, and just being able to pull one out atomically, I had an idea on how we could do that. But I had a chat with some coworkers, and they were like, "This is a better idea." And then I talked about it and thought about it, and I was like, "Yes, that is a better idea." So what we want to do is, as we each request comes in, we want to basically put it in a queue, and then as we have groups of this queue of game servers that need to be allocated or requests for them, we can basically process them all in one go. We can take all our game servers, list them in the right order so that we can pack them tightly, and then sort of rotate through that list and whatchamacallit, and do that all in one big batch, essentially. And I started on some code. I sort of blocked out some code. None of it really works yet. I've just sort of blocked it out to see how it goes. So we're going to keep working on it. I've got some parts. I'll take you through some of it, though. So let's screen share. So we have this function called allocate. There's actually the original version is down here. There we go. That's the original version, and it does a bunch of stuff. Finds ready game servers for allocation, and then goes through and where are we? What does it actually do? Finds ready game servers for allocation, and then comes through and just basically marks it as allocated and kicks it through. And it's not bad. It does this thing for throughput reasons down here. So where are we? So there's a bunch of checking a bunch of selectors on the game server allocation, like what's preferred and what's required, etc., etc. And then it gets randomly selected from this bunch, which is awesome for throughput, right? You take like 100 of them, and then you're like, okay, just randomly select one of them. And if you have multiple requests coming through, then you don't get contention, because if inside Kubernetes, if you're trying to update something, it'll actually refuse it if something else beats you to it, right? Something updates first. It'll say, oh, this has already been changed, so like try again. Which is awesome, and it's a great pattern, but it means we try and avoid that contention as much as possible because it slows us down. So we're in this thing called allocate to. And these couple of types. This is all like very I'm just trying stuff out, and then I'm going to clean it up as I go, which is pretty much what I'm doing. So I've called this thing called job. I don't know if that's a really good name, wherein for basically asynchronously being able to process an allocation. So I've called it a job. It takes in the game server allocation, which, if you're not familiar with Agones, is basically like the selectors for what's required and what's preferred for the game servers we want. Just checking on my dog. And then a channel for which we expect the response to come back in. All right, so we can listen for that. So that then, and then, sorry, a channel of type response. I should be absolutely clear with that. And now a response actually contains the job that it has in itself. For better or worse. Mainly so the response itself can send data back to itself. I don't know. It sort of made sense as I was going through the code. We may also clean this up. Response has the game server itself that's the actual final result, and or an error that may or may not come with it. So we're able to, basically the theory being is we can look at the response and then see if there's an error or if there's a game server. So allocate to becomes pretty simple at this point. We create a job, right? We take our game server allocation. We make a channel with responses. All right, for our response, we have this thing called pending requests that comes through. We may want some mutex on it. I'll show about that in a minute. And we put our job inside the channel. And then finally, we basically this is the bit that matters, right? We get a response from the channel once it's done, because async, and then we can turn the game server in the air. I have put some stuff in here. There's a stop channel that goes through all controllers, such that if like a shutdown request occurs, we want to shut down, so we can actually cancel out and just be like, nope, done, see ya, if we're waiting for a response, which is not the end of the world. It means we don't get like a whole blocking thing once everything shuts down, which is nice. So that's pretty much it. So this thing here is the pending request. This is the thing that's fun. Like, how do we make batches happen? How do we make that come through? Right? Like, because we don't want to. What we actually don't want to do is like take one by one by one. We want to be like, oh, let's take a whole bunch. So this is this big monk of code that is very messy right now. So we have this update queue. So we have. So we might come back to this. We'll come back to that. So basically, we have this thing called allocate from list. I wrote some internal functions. I wasn't sure whether I liked this idea or not. Or I probably end up pulling a lot of this out. I just wanted to block this out so I had an idea. So I'm actually gonna. Here we go. So allocate list was a function that was meant to take a list of game servers, loop around them. We haven't actually done this yet. Look at what's preferred and what's required and grab the best one from the list. Here I've just hacked just pop one off, please. No, just we take it, we deep copy it because caching. We apply the patch metadata, so we can apply allocations and metadata to game servers when we allocate them, and then we put it into what we call an update queue. And an update queue is basically it is a set of go routines up into a certain point that basically just concurrently stick game servers into the allocated state. And as you remember, we have the response game server and the response error to go back into the queue. So we can set those values from here. And this is why the job has its own response on it. So I can actually get the response has itself on it, and then I can actually just get the response queue and apply itself. For better or worse. It seems like that's fine. I might tidy that up. But essentially, yeah, so, and if one of these fails because of a conflict, it'll retry. We can do all sorts of fun stuff that way too. This seems okay. This has been tested. Come on, computer, what are you doing? There we go. Thank you. The thing I wanted to start on next... and this thing here, I should say, this run local allocations is just going to be run inside. We have this run function inside controllers that gets fired up. So this is just going to continually loop around, and we can process batches. So, right, so what we do is we have another channel called request pools, which is a chain of channels of jobs. Basically, whenever a new this is a new batch. This basically a request pool is a batch pool. It probably actually should be called a batch pool. Ooh, I like that better. Actually, let's change that name. We're going to call that a request batch. Request batches. Yes, I like that idea. Do factor. Yeah, I like that better. Whenever we have a new request batch come through, we swap out what's the current pending requests, and we close the old one. And then we have, once the new batch comes through, we write a gofunc that this needs to be populated with the game servers, which is what I'm writing right now. And then we create a for loop that, oh my god, yeah, this like I said, this is really messy, right? There's a for loop, and then we do a select. So then we basically punching around our current batch. So we already have our list of game servers, and we allocate from that particular list. Like while we always have jobs inside our batch, right, which is this here. Oh my god, we allocate from that list. We do that work. If stop finishes, we like kick out. And default is basically like, hey, we're looping around and we don't have anything left, right? Like we don't have anything left in our batch. So as long as there's stuff in the jobs queue, boom, 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 great. If it hits the default, then we're like, okay, create a new batch, stick it in the batch queue, and we'll just finish things off until the, what's the word I'm looking for? Until the thing gets closed. So we chuck a new one in here and request batches, which then fires this up here, right? And we do the swap, and then we close the old one. So like, not too bad. Yeah, it's messy. It is messy. It is messy. So I'm trying to clean it up. I'm trying to work through it, and try and work through all the things that's going on. Because it's like I said, I blocked it out. It's a bit messy. So the thing I'm working on right now is actually this section, because this seemed like a good chunk to pull out. I wanted to create a function that just gave me the list, and in the sorted version that I wanted. And I started on this down here. List sorted, ready game servers. So we have this cache of ready game servers. It's called ready game servers. Surprisingly enough, it is a game server cache entry, which has a cache. Basically, it is just a locked map of stuff that we keep up to date with game servers that are ready. Like, we just do that work already. And so that's easy enough. And so what do we do? So if it's 0, we just kick out an empty one. That's easy. We create ourselves a list, and we give it the hint of the capacity because we know what it is. And then we range through it, create our list. We grab, we have a thing that counts. Basically what we want to do is sort it by whichever allocations are, what's the word I'm looking for? Whichever nodes have the most allocations on them, we want to start with those. It's basically the deal. And so we have this thing called counts that counts nodes, basically. So we look at that. That is, here we go. It's a map string of node counts. Node counts are a thing that have both ready and allocated counts on them. So we just track those for us. Okay. Now that I actually have this done right, so I wrote, you'll notice there's a lot of this in here. I wrote something stupid yesterday that was lots of fun. I had this as slice is sorted for a long time, and I couldn't work out what was going on. I was going to swear a bit there. This is a function that determines whether the list is sorted that returns a Boolean, right? Like, is this sorted? Test whether slice is sorted. Doesn't actually sort. What's it called? Actually sort. And in my test, so where are we? Here's my test. I had a small enough set of like 3 or 4 game servers that, because they come through randomly ordered when they're in the cache for the informers, half the time it would pass the test and half the time it wouldn't, and it would drive me nuts. I could not work out what's going on. Anyway, I finally saw the typo. So let's make this pass in the way that we want to pass. And I have a feeling it's actually broken right now, which is great, which is fine. Like, that actually makes me happy because that gives us something to do. So, and I think we can also tidy this up, this test, when we've got a happy place for it. Probably. Okay, so boom, fails. Beautiful. That's what I want to see. All right, so I have a strong feeling. Ooh, what does that do? Oh, fancy. Oh, okay, that's not what I care about. I have a strong feeling it's actually in the reverse order of what I want it to be. So, here we go. So I have the first one, expected is plus. No, minus is expected, plus is actual. So the first one is GS2, when what I thought wanted was that. There, interesting. That actually looks right. How are they different? Where's the, oops. So I'm expecting GS1, GS2 list. Assert.len t2 list. Actually, it's the other way around. List 2. Run this again. But at least it consistently fails, whereas before, it didn't consistently fail. Oh, Fried Duchess, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? Just checking chat. You're going to DevRel 101. Glad to hear it. Okay, so this is failing, and this is failing hard. All right, why is it failing? All right, so where's my log, actually? What's the log? Game server GS2 and then GS1. Oh, it's in the wrong order. Why is the... Actually, that's an interesting question. So it is... Okay, so I wrote a little logging thing. I was like, if... Because it's much easier to see what is the name of each game server as it comes through. Because here that says that was the actual GS2, and then that says it's, yeah, see, that doesn't make any sense. Why is that? What? It shouldn't be GS2? Is that what it's trying to say there? So confused. I don't understand why that's Oh, I get how it's saying it. Okay, got it. Got it. I think I got it. Or something, maybe. I think this is like a patch, right? So this is saying that this GS2 should be here, and the GS2 should be removed from the other spot. That's not useful at all, actually. But anyway, that's fine. I've got it in the wrong order. So let's look at here, and I think I know why. So here we go. So sort.slice is really nice. That wasn't meant to rhyme. Sort.slice is really nice. But it is. It's basically a nice way of saying, okay, sort a given list by a function that says, is I less than j? And I and j are the index. So we grab those. Actually, I don't think that. So, it shouldn't be that the node name should never be there, but I guess sometimes that happens. Wow, is it almost 9:30? What time was my next meeting? How did that happen? Oh no, we're good. We're good. I'm good till 10:30. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Let me respond to that. That's my dog walker for tomorrow, which is very awesome. Thanks. Perfect. Awesome. I need to get back to that. Okay. This is a just in case. If there, so I think right now the way I've got it going, yeah. So here I'm saying if C1 allocated is less than the C2 allocated count, then like that's return true. What I actually want is I want the most at the front. I kind of want to flip that around, I think. So that's the order I want it to be in. I want when we're doing pack strategy, I want it to go from most to least. Right? So most likely do I want it to be packed all the way down to least, and then vice versa. So I think what I actually want to do is, this is probably less of a concern, but actually I'm going to get rid of those because I don't think I need this anymore, or that. I was putting that in, being like, I don't know what was going on. I'm actually going to clear that out. So let's flip this around. Rather than thinking of it as less, think of it as put it. Hold on, let's think about this, right? So normally it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's ascending. So less is put it first. So I think of it this way, right? So if C1 allocated is less than C2 allocated, don't put it first. Whereas if it's greater than, put it first. Yeah, so actually the easier way of thinking about it, I think, is that way. Put it first. I think that's going to... and then if C2 ready, fill this up with the least number of ready first. So that should actually be true. And that should be false. The ordering is not going to make a huge difference for processing speed or anything like that, but it works better in my brain. And then I've just, yeah, so what I'm saying here is, okay, so what I think I'm saying is most allocated first. Those with the least number of readies I'm going to push first. All right, fill up the smaller blocks first. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And then I'm just going to sort by node name. That just means that when we first start, we're always going to start from the same game server, and it's gonna process in a stable order, right? Or stable order basically by node name, right? Like I don't care about stable. All right, so let's have a look at some of these tests. Run that now. Let's see what we get. I think that's the order we want. Compiling. There we go. Yes! I'm going to run that a couple of times because it was so flaky before, but I think the flakiness was just because I wrote bad things. Okay, so that's looking good. That's giving me an order that I like. That is looking lovely. All right, cool. What about the other test? So least ready is the other test I wrote. That is running around. So, okay, so that's perfect too. I'm trying to decide if I want to tidy this up a little, just because all of this is just all the things. Do I do anything with the list? I'm just having a look. So there's the tests are a little bit different. That's all right. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to actually do this. I'm going to create a little test bed that I think will work quite nicely. So, yes, we're going to do a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Table run tests, just to clean this up a little bit. So we'll call it fixtures or tests. What do I normally use? I think I call fixtures. I don't know why I call them fixtures. Something I just picked up somewhere. Test would be a struct, and yep, beautiful. I like fixtures. I think fixtures. I'm like, yeah, I don't know where I picked that up from. Maybe that's just a random thing that I do because I don't know reasons. So what do I got that's different in each one? The only things that are different, I think, are this. Yep, I set up a different GS list, and then my list of tests is different. So something I'm liking a lot is actually just making a test function, and then you can kind of do what you want. So why don't we call it GS list, which is a array of stable game servers, and then a test, which is a func that takes a what is it? Pointer to testing.t, comma, and a list. Should we just call it list? I think that's easier. Which also takes that, or is it an array of pointers? Pointers is what comes through. And I don't think it needs anything else. What does that do? That just that looks good. It's just all stuff on the tests. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Oh, and that should be map string struct. And so now we can take this and make this copy most allocated. There we go. We can actually fill struct. There we go. A list. And our test func. That's not right. What have I done wrong? Oh, there we go. Boom. Yep. Lovely. Oh, it's not going to like that because I did both. What do I need to do here? List, is that better? No, it's not happy with me. Why is it not happy with me? Functions both named and unnamed parameters. Doesn't now. There we go. Do I need to name them? Can I do this? Will it be happy with that? I think it will. Yeah, it's happy with that. All right, cool. Most allocated. So there's my GS1, 2, 3, and then here's my test. I think I can just drop in and do that. And then I could do my usual key value range fixtures sploot and t.run. Name is key func testing t. I need to take all of this stuff. Actually, not all of it, but most of it. Here. Yep. GS list is v.list. Boom. I'm just gonna actually copy paste that because it's useful. And that's fine. And then list, and then v.test t list. Bam. Why is it complaining? What do you mean unused variable? I use it all over the place. It's right there. Let's see if that passes and that compiles. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's always very nice. Okay, then we can clean up some of this. Spot. So that one, and this is what, least ready? The only thing annoying about table-driven tests mainly is actually my annoyance with the IDE. It's really nice inside IntelliJ, whoops, I don't know what I just did there, that I can just run individual tests from here, and it works really nicely. Once I go into table-driven, it takes that away, so I have to run the whole suite, and that's kind of irritating. But not the end of the world. Where are we? Here we go. I'm just going to steal that. That will become a list. Why are you complaining? Ah, just because you can. Test func. Boom. I like to call that list. And then steal all that. Yeah, I quite like this kind of format, rather than like hard coding expected values, which is fine. That works too. That's my last one. I need to do that too. Which is fine as well, but I just kind of like having a function. It feels a little bit more natural, and I can kind of understand what's coming, what my tests are. Right, so I know what I should be expecting. It's like standard code rather than these expected values, which sometimes can get a little lost in what's going on. Lovely, lexicographical, beautiful. Actually, it's interesting. If I run that, can I actually run it, that individual one? What happens? Huh. Ooh, actually. If I run that one. Lexicographical is this one down here. Or what I wanted to see was like most allocated. See, it won't let me do that. See, I can't just be like, run that one, even though you know what it is and like what the name is. It's like, nope, don't know how, too hard. So, fun. All right, cool. All right, so let's do lexicographical. So lexicographical is, call it node name. So what do we want here? We want to have the same number of readies, so like 2 readies and 2 node 2. I don't care about allocated. Node 1 ready, node 2 ready. Actually, I could just do 2 of them. That would actually work quite well. So I don't actually think I need this. I'm going to rename this GS4. Yeah, actually. Do that refactor. Perfect. UID can be 4. Let's make sure I didn't break anything. Yep. Runtime error. Invalid. What? There's nothing in it. Oh, because I didn't actually. There's no test to run. I didn't put any data in it, so that's fine. All right, so that's cool. All right, sweet. What is next? All right. Oh yeah, lexicographical. So 1 from each node should be fine. So I can do GS1, GS2, and GS1 should come first, always. That should be easy enough. So let's still you. We'll make it GS2, GS1. Not that it actually will matter. So the interesting thing is once it goes into the cache for Kubernetes, it will actually, I'm calling it list. It will actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Come out randomly. Len list 2. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing here. Actually, it should be GS1, GS2. Perfect, exactly the same. I put this here because it's just, it is a bit tricky. Once you have pointers for it to see exactly what it is that's wrong. All right, let's run all those tests. And it should pass. Beautiful. Perfect. Let's just run it again. I really wish you could just be like, boom, do that again. I can do that. So I'm gonna run it a few times, make sure there's no flakiness. Kind of wish I had a runner that was like run multiple times. The setup calls. I just want to actually also cool. Yeah, just making sure that race condition stuff is there. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. Nice. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. Tidy that up a little. Lovely. So I now have this function. I can get rid of that. Are there any logs in here that I need to clean up? No, that seems pretty good. List sorted, ready. Game servers. We can come up here. And list can be c.list sorted game servers. Does that return an error? Nope. Beautiful. So now we have a list. That's actually really nice. Let's flip to here. Make that a little bigger just so I can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna go import /w package. Beautiful. Just tidy that up a little. Make sure there's nothing too weird. No, it all looks pretty good. I'm just gonna lint it as well, just to see if there's anything strange. Let's flip that around. That's a bit easier. A bit easier to read. See if that produces any concerns. My dog's taking herself to bed. That's fine. Anything? All right, so some of this I know it's fine, but GS list is never used. 51. GS list is never used. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. We're going to totally redo this anyway. Okay, cool. So there's nothing in there that looks bad. All right. That's a good commit. Sorting is now working as expected. Just gonna push that up. All right, so that gives me a checkbox. All right. Whew. Yeah, this is kind of gnarly, so I'm just kind of working my way through it. And I also expect, like, this is going through a few different iterations with some teammates as well, and I think we'll end up ripping this apart. But anyway, allocate from list. This seems like a good one to do. Now here's an interesting question. All right, so here's a fun question. Oh, interesting. So here's my thought. I'm actually thinking that what I should do is encapsulate the logic of getting a game server out of a list. And I'm thinking I'm actually going to put it on the game server allocation object itself. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking that way. Let me have a look at the game server allocation. Package, APIs, allocation. One, game server allocation, go. All right. Got a bunch of preferred selectors. Do I? See, this is the interesting thing, right? Go is not particularly object-oriented. So do I put this on here? Or do I keep this in the controller, which is really the one responsible for this? Good question. This is not logic that is gonna get reused, I guess. Hmm. I'm trying to think what is the best option here. If anyone has opinions, feel free to jump in. We don't put a lot of functionality in here. We tend to put it in the controllers. I almost think of it like a CMDs are almost like an empty component system in some ways. Ish. Like it's the controllers that have the behavior. Oh. Yeah, okay. All right, so we are... I'm going to keep it in the controller section, but I'm not going to put it in the controller per se. That's what I'm thinking. So I come in here, we're just going to have pure functions that do this. I like to keep my pure functions in a different spot, just because it's a little bit easier to look at. I have this thing called find. This will all get deleted eventually. Yeah, this seems like a good spot for it. Find optimal game server for allocation. Finds an, not the optimal game server given the, that's not what I wanted, but anyway, I will take a GSA, which will be a pointer to a game server allocation, boom, and a list, which is an array of pointer to game servers. Yes, we'll need to work out. This will return probably a single pointer to a game server. And so write a test. All right, we need some better. That should be what, stable? P1 alpha 1. That works. Okay. That seems legit. I'm trying to work out if I have some code for this already that I can reuse. Given the set of, where are we? Set, hands off from key, of preferred and required selectors on the game server allocation. Okay. Fun. Okay, so I had something. Actually, give me, not that one. I was just looking at this. Yes, this. Preferred selectors. Control. Oh, what I want is to see usages of that. There we go. Find ready game servers for allocation. Oh, do I have this already? Close. I have something that's close. It's basically similar. All right, so I can steal some of this. I need that. I feel like I can actually reuse this maybe in some ways. don't need counts. It's already sorted. So I'm just actually gonna. All right. Let me look at this. So all right, I can steal this. And then that becomes rename. Oops. That'll be one. All right. Cool. Oh, really? There's errors in here? Ah. All right. So this thing also needs to return an error. All right. That looks good. C dots. No, I don't want a list. No list. Required is better. Nil wrap. Could not create. Okay. GSA doesn't have a name anymore. Really? Against a relocation. Convert. Okay. Sweet. So that gives us a couple of things. All right. Fun. So game server allocations. Actually, we can have a look at that. Is they have a look at the spec. We have a single required selector, which can be a whole bunch of stuff. Match labels, match expressions, all kinds of fun things. And then we have a set of preferred ones that are in preference order, right? So an array. So this should actually be required selector and preferred selector. And what I'm thinking is we will need to have var required pointer to a game server and var preferred array of pointers to, actually I should say, this should make sense in a minute. Make array of pointers of game servers, list of len preferred selector, and this will hopefully make sense in a minute. But I just want to the slicer length capacity slice is equal to its length. All right, so sweet. So I want placeholders. I'm making placeholders here. So required value is a pointer to a game server. That's fine, and it starts off as nil. So we know if we get nil, we can spit out nil. That's fine. And then preferred is an array of the same size as the number of preferred selectors we have, but all its values will also be set to nil. This means that we will always know that we have those values. Okay. Whew. Now we can kind of just do this. We can loop for underscore gs in range list. Now we already know the list is sorted. All right. I think, yeah, so first we'll want to first look at preferred, then look at required. Whew, fun. All right, so for I value in range preferred selector. Yeah, actually that actually works. That, yeah, so call it cell for selector. If preferred I does not equal nil. So like we haven't found one already. It's basically it. So if we find one, then we don't want to check ever again. That's what we don't want to do, right? Because if we find a preferred version, it's sorted. We've already got the order in which we want to sort it in. Ooh, I just thought of something else, but that's all right. We'll come back to this. To write a thing for distributed searching. That's a whole thing. So I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. That's it. That's just putting that note in my head while I think about it. So if we have a preferred selector, then what's the word? Then we don't want it. We don't. There's no point doing the comparison. So if cell matches ds.objectMeta.labels, oh, I need to change a little thing in that equals GS. That needs to be what, labels.set from memory? Yes. Yep, no. There we go. So yeah, it's just casting labels.set as a map string. Why the hell they do that, I don't know. We just need to cast it to that type, and then okay, so then we do that, and we loop around it, and so that's cool. And then if required does not equal nil, doesn't equal nil, and actually we can do that. And required selector dot matches labels dot set nope, cast yes dot object meta dot labels required equals GS. That seems legit. I don't like this being repeated, so let's make that a variable. 2 occurrences. Set sounds nice. Yeah, I was going to call it labels, but that would actually... That's a bit tidier. Okay, so run through all of those. Sweet. Whew. And then we should just be able to loop through what our results are. So underscore p, or actually I'll call it GS, in range preferred, if GS does not equal nil, return, oh, I messed something up. What did I, why are you unhappy? Oh, there we go. If GS does not equal nil, return GS nil. Basically return the first game server you get. Otherwise, return required nil. And required might be empty. There might be nothing in it. That's a possibility. We may want to rejig that a little at some point, or maybe return an error if there isn't any. But that gets us pretty close. That gets us pretty close. That's pretty good. Actually, I quite like that. That feels pretty good. Type. Whoops. No. Preferred. No, I can't spell, but we know this. There we go. Thank you. Cool. Whew. Oy, that makes my head hurt. All right. I think that should work pretty reasonably well. All right. I so feel like I wrote a test for a bunch of this already. Find packed ready game server. Yeah, see, I did a bunch of this kind of stuff. This is interesting. Can I reuse this? Oops. Let's have a look here. So what am I actually testing here? Find ready game server for allocation. Preferred allocation trap. I wonder what that means. Not entirely sure. But I think I can reuse a lot of this, actually. Maybe I can do a little bit of a better tests. Let's see if we can. I'm a little less concerned about like deletion timestamps and stuff because yeah, this takes care of all this kind of stuff. That's not my problem. Okay. Whew. What happened, Suki? You gonna come visit? Thought Suki was gonna come visit. Ooh. Where's that test I wrote a little while ago? I feel like I wrote a bunch of tests and I just thought of something and I was looking at it, which is that, not that one, not that one. That looks like my code. That's the one. T.parallel. Anyway, okay, cool. Find, boom. Let's write a new go file, find test. Beautiful. I'm going to use that controller test as yeah, this was interesting. Let's see, anything? Just having a quick look. That no one's messaging me about stuff. All right, cool. All right. Make sure that's all good. All right, perfect. Find test. What's the name of the thingamabobber? That's the technical term. Test. All right, so allocation distributed. Not distributed. Packed. So I do need to do some stuff for packed allocations, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Basically, I need to change the order of this for loop at some point. But we'll one problem at a time. One problem at a time. All right, T.parallel. I really liked what we have here. I feel like though we can. Oh, I see. So we're doing a bunch of stuff. What are we doing here? Let's actually have a quick look. I just want to have a look through this test and see what's happening here. So create a controller. We have this watch. I don't know where that gets used. I'm actually kind of curious now. Modify. Oh, I see. That I'm changing my list and doing stuff to it to see what happens. That's the distributed one. I'm not worried about that. I want to look at packed. Packed is better for me right now. There we go. Okay. That seems legit, so let's steal that. Lovely. That'll be V1 enable selector. Really? There it goes. Meta V1 because that's the standard we've used everywhere else. Whew. Test just required. I like this. Let's grab that. Let's see what we got. So you do create a watch, and I'm not sure why. Game server rename stable. All right. Default watch reactor. Okay, it's testing. All right, so let's have a look. Start informers, testing 2, rename. All right, let's get all the usual stuff. Really, runtime object. Okay. I think I've just called that runtime. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really needed to call that anything else. All right, so I just want to have a look through what this test was doing, and then maybe we can just reuse this stuff. I don't like this has sync. That seems stupid, especially given that it's we've got a game server synced in here already, and the fact that I had to do that is a worry that I had to do that in the first place. This basically makes sure the cache is populated as it comes through. We sync the ready cache. Beautiful. We run the counter. Beautiful. What does it say with 0? 0 int. Oh, we don't do anything with it. Okay, it literally doesn't do anything. Cool. Initialize the cache. Sweet. What we'll need then is our list. Our list is c.list sort of game servers. And GS error becomes find game server allocation GSA list. Let's have a look. So what do we actually have here? So we have a bunch of game servers, default namespaces and labels. Everyone has the same label. Yep. And it is the same label all three. All right, sweet. And what we should do is get one that comes from node 1. It should be one of these, not that one because that's an error. It should be that. It should actually be that one, right? It should be GS1. It looks like. C.gameserver synced. Let's just replace those while we're at it. Stop being painful. Now, oh, this is fun. I do need, I need this for listing, but mock that the first game server is allocated. I could actually just change my list. I don't need to like push stuff into the watch. I don't need that stuff now for this test, which is actually super nice. So let's get rid of that. That all goes away. Because I'm going to grab this list that is my sorted list, and I'm going to literally do what I would normally do, I guess. I'll edit the list, which is what I'm going to end up doing anyway. Ooh. I have thought of one problem I'm going to have with this already. Yeah, I have. Which is how do I take it out of the list? All right, one problem at a time. Oy. This isn't easy. This isn't easy at all. Let's get this. Actually, you know what? Let's get this test working. I've got another to do here. Because once I have a test, we can start messing with things. How do we tell the system what game server we removed? I think we need to return it. We need to return an index value. But one problem at a time. Like I said. Cool. Whew. What time we got? 10 o'clock. All right, sweet. I need to finish in about half an hour at least. Oh, that's nice too. All right. Cool. Hey. All right. One problem at a time. So yeah, first one should be node 1. In theory, I can't see it being like anything other than this one. It has to be GS1. Like I don't cert dot equal t gs1 gs dot object metadata name. Like, I don't see how... I'm just going to actually comment this out. Then we can start dropping that stuff back in as we need it. I don't see how that could be anything else. Nope, it does. Panic! Ah, well, at least that gives me something. Suki, you coming for a visit? Most important thing is my dog comes for a visit. Hello. How you doing? Oop. Big sleepies. All right. What failed entirely? Let's see if we can see. Donk. And getting smushed by a dog. All right. Ooh. Cert nil. Cert dot not nil. TGS. Run that. Shouldn't be nil. Maybe it should return an error if it fails? Don't know. There we go. Find test 73. That's weird. Actually, that should say no error. That's a better test. 72 doesn't fail. It panics. Unless it panics first. So let's do this. If assert not nil. Assert dot fail now. No, mess that up too. Try that. Yep. Huh. Okay. Fun. All right, let's have a look. Find. Well, you know what? Let's turn on debugging and see what happens. Just have a quick look at it just to make sure I'm not doing anything silly. There's our GSA. It has required labels. There are batch labels. Oh boy. Oh. Cert dot len t. Oops, sorry, t list. There should be like 3 of them. I think I want to say. Where are we? 1, 2. There should be 2, sorry. Let's run that, make sure that's right. Make sure I've got the data that I think I have. Yep, all right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's turn the debugger. See what we see. Alrighty. Sweet, so we have a list. There are 2 items in here. Object meta, we have, I just want to check the labels. Roll game server. Okay, sweet. And our GSA spec required, match labels, roll game server. Okay, sweet. That looks pretty good. Alright, so step over. Step over. Our preferred selector should be empty, which is fine. Step over. That should be fine, that should be fine. Alright. So let's loop around our game servers. Yep. We have a set. Step over that. Where are we? Here's our set. It is literally roll game server. All the preferred stuff should just skip over. Required does not. Oh! I see it. It should be equals. Kick that through. Actually, we can tidy this up too. Now I'm looking at it. It should be equals nil, right? If the value is nil, then we want to check it. If it's not, then we don't. We can tidy this up to be that. Okay, try that test now. Beautiful. Okay, mock that the first game server is allocated. Oh, it's taking the whole block. Let's just move this down. So it's a sorted list. Ugh. Actually, it should be the first one. Okay, first game server is allocated. So list 0 dot status dot state equals game server allocated. Assert dot equal. I just want to double check that. Sometimes I get, actually, I've been doing Go for ages, but sometimes I forget what actually will modify values or not. Let me run that. Yep, perfect. Good. All right. Let's mock that. And all right, and then we run this again. And we need that instead of that. No error. Assert dot. It's just a fail with no. Oh no. No, you're fine. And that should be GS2. Like, I don't think there's any other thing it can be. From memory, GS2 is the only other ready one right now. Yep. All right, cool. Nope, something failed. All right, what failed? Expected node 2, actually node 1. Find test 89. Interesting. Why do I feel like the list wasn't updated? Debug. Actually, where are we? Oh, I don't care about that right now. That's what I care about. Where are we? Not GS list. Just want list. 0. Status. State is allocated. And then object meta, name is GS2. Its status, no, name is node2. Interesting. How did that... No error, finish with nil. I've overwritten GS, haven't I? Alright, let's go in. Let's see what's going on. It's actually very strange. Alright, so we're here. Just double checking my list again. Status equals allocated. I do not... oh! I have assumed two very important things. One is that the list is readies. It was always readies, which in this case it's not. Also, I need to sort on namespace too. All right, there are two things I wanted to hear. All right, cool. Let's make a note of this. It is assumed that all game servers passed in are ready and available. It's an interesting question. Do I need to... Well, the theory being that the cache is sorting this out for me, so it shouldn't have to. That's actually wrong. To remove the first game server. So list will now equal list 1. No. I think that's right. The other thing we need to do is for loop. We need to know... Oh, game server allocation has a namespace. We can use that. So where's our find test? I just want to make sure that's got a meta dot... No, I just did something silly. Construct. Type meta, object meta. I don't care about any of that. That's what I want. Object meta. Namespace equals default namespace. All right, cool. Shouldn't mess with anything, right? Different. Just dropping that in there. Does not apply. Fun. All right, we go around the lists. If gs.objectMeta.namespace does not equal gsa.objectMeta.namespace, space, continue. Only search the same namespace. Very important. Alrighty. Whew. Cool. Run that again. Lots of fun. Nope, broke something. 71. Here we go. That is true. That should be 1. Hold on. Which one is that? Ooh, I broke lots of things. What did I break? What have I done? Find game server for loop. If GS does not equal GSA object, no stress. But they should equal. Oh. What on earth? Yeah, I got GS6. Should have 2 items, but has 3. Oh, it does. It does because I added an extra one. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. That is fine. I added an extra one. So the list sorted should always be sorted. That's fine. Because we always want to, regardless. So even when we're packing, regardless of which namespace it's in, we still want to target the node that has the most number, because it doesn't matter about namespace when we're scaling up and scaling down. But we do want to sort. We want to filter, basically. It stays. Hey, buddy. Filter. Okay. Whew. Okay. Let's get in there. Whee! Alright, that's fun. Alright, so that puts one in there. That's that. And then finally, what do you do here? You make that one that, and then error no game server ready. Basically, then at this point, a list equals nil. And then we do something like this, but right now, whoops, no, where am I? Do that. Yeah, so GS assert no error assert nil TGS. And whether or not that is a good idea is a whole different matter. So I'm just giving myself some notes. I may want to make it so that it returns that particular error. I haven't decided. Haven't decided at this point. Probably should. Because what does it do? Error, no game server ready. Something to look at. All right. Let's go imports that. Let's lint it real quick. See if there's anything that shows up. It's still probably going to complain that there's some stuff that's not being used, but that's okay. That is not unexpected. Maximum execution not used. That's fine. I actually wish this the unused stuff would remove, like, not look at tests, basically. But Okay, that gives us... That's fine. All right, so starting work on searching for a optimal game server. Let's push that up. Whew. All right. I need to run a meeting in 4 minutes, unfortunately. So I am going to run off. Just want to say thanks for hanging out with me today. You can follow me on Twitter at Neurotic, here on Twitch. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, follow me on Twitch at Mark Mandel. Follow me on YouTube at Mark S. Mandel. Otherwise, yeah, I'll try and get back on again next week. Maybe I'll try and get one also happening at the end of this week. We'll see how we go. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found that valuable, and I'll see you all later.